Hey there! Thank you for tuning into DuckBricks. This is a bit of an impromptu reaction video because the new trailer for Ninjago's next adventure, The Island, has just dropped. I am recording this reaction completely blind. I have not seen the trailer yet. All I have seen is that I have read that essentially this is actually not going to be season 14 as many people thought. This is actually only supposed to be a 45-minute special with a lead-in to season 14, which is actually happening later this summer. Now, I certainly have my thoughts on that, but I'm going to go into the trailer completely blind first, put some highlights of my reaction, and I'll do some deep analysis after that point. So, for those of you wanting to skip the reaction and just go to the highlights and analysis, the timestamp is right here and down in the description below, but as of right now, I'm going to start my look at the reaction and let you know how I think of it live. In 3, 2, 1.
I regret to inform you that Misako Montgomery Garmadon is missing and presumed lost.
Oh, it's her middle name.
Hiya, fellas. We're going after them. You're the only one who
Who
knows
is
what's
this?
out there. I'll tell you what's out there. Storm.
Oh wow, that water looks really good. Huh. Oh, that shot's a little shaky. Oh, that's some interesting texture on the skin there of the villains.
Oh boy.
We are the keepers of the amulet.
There's a collectible.
You will be our prisoners forever.
Wow, these shots in the fog are looking really good.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, Pixel. Wow, this looks really good. Animation-wise, at least, the water looks fantastic.
Assuming survival position.
Oh. Ooh, that running shot could use some improvement, but that's alright. Yeah, all of the shots in the water in the storm look really good. Oh, is this another long take action scene? Please. Huh, well, alright then. So that's very interesting. It certainly wasn't quite what I was expecting. I did not actually think that it was going to be a just 45-minute special, and I'm a little curious because the last time we had this set up was Day of the Departed. It was our last 45-minute Ninjago special. I'm gonna be honest, that one was a little bit rough and honestly quite felt a bit rushed, but I actually do have a lot more faith in the writers for this one, particularly because this doesn't even seem to be a standalone special. They say that it was supposed to set up season 14 coming later this year, so I actually do have a feeling it's going to end on some sort of a cliffhanger. Let me pull up the exact description of what this season is now that I've watched the trailer. I specifically did not pull it up because I didn't want to spoil myself. Okay, so it says this is The Unknown Island, which is a quote-unquote special episode of season 13 of Ninjago, so I guess that just means it's a special. It doesn't belong to any season. It's going to air on February 13th, which is actually coming out pretty soon. All right. The quote-unquote description is, an expedition led by Lloyd's mother has gone missing on a remote island off the coast of Ninjago. So that makes sense. They started off the trailer by saying Misako has gone missing. This is actually the first time we've heard Misako's middle name, Montgomery. We know that Lloyd's full name is Lloyd Montgomery Garmadon. So is the last name just Montgomery-Garmadon? That's kind of interesting. I don't know why they would specifically call that out, but it is certainly a new tidbit of information. The ninjas go on a rescue mission and they recruit Twitchy Tim, the only ninja who has returned alive from this mysterious island. So that must be the character that we saw earlier in the trailer who had some purple electricity around him. Seems like he's lost it a little bit. Almost seems like he's going to be some sort of a castaway character. Now I'm kind of curious to see, I don't know exactly how much time they'll have to explore this, but maybe he will betray the ninja, reveal that he's been working for the islanders the whole time, or maybe he's just some other adventurer who went to the island and just barely returned with his life. So kind of interesting how they are working him in. I'm not sure why that character is needed because I could very easily see Lloyd's mother going missing, the rest of the ninja going after her. I don't know why they need to find this other guy who's returned alive, but maybe that will have some sort of significant story role. But continuing the description here, it says, they track down the expedition, but at the same time discover an ancient tribe of native islanders with strange lightning-based technology. So this actually makes a lot of sense because in the sets, we've seen that Jay is kind of set apart. Jay keeps on being captured or is being used to fuel a source, so maybe it's his lightning powers that are causing him to be set aside from the ninja, because these are of course lightning islanders. It's kind of interesting how in the trailer Jay seems to be getting some sort of special treatment from the islanders, and there actually was a leaked quote from the show that was something along the lines of, "Since they like you so much, why don't you go talk to them yourself?" I'm presuming this is one of the ninja talking to Jay, who maybe the rest of the ninja aren't treated that nicely by the Islanders, they're pitted against them, but maybe the Islanders do actually think that Jay is some sort of a legend or a god because he has his lightning abilities, so I can definitely see that going in that direction, although in the sets, Jay actually is captured by many of them, so honestly, who knows? Continuing the description, this tribe fears and worships a terrible sea creature. They manage to keep her submissive through frequent and previous sacrifices, but her anger arouses and she demands more. So this is definitely the tie-in to season 14, I think. Most of what we know from the summer wave of TV show sets is that it is Nia focused, focusing on the origin and basis of Nia's powers and exploration of them, as well as having a fully aquatic villain faction. So I can definitely see it such that these are actually going to be a lead-in to the next season. Maybe that terrible female sea creature is very similar to the Preeminent from season 5, which was also one of the larger deities that the villain faction was worshipping and trying to appease. So I'm kind of curious whether the villains for the next season will be these islanders, or maybe these islanders are just pawns of these villains, and the main villains are actually some servants of this creature. It is nice, however, to get an interconnected story throughout the entire year of Ninjago. The last time we got that was ages ago, all the way back with Sons of Garmadon and Hunted, and even then it was a pretty distinct split between villains. So to end the description, it says, "The ninjas will have to face the wrath of the sea and this creature from the bottom of infinite oceans." So that definitely ties into one of the leaked set names, the Temple of Infinite Oceans. The opportunity for them to discover that its powers are linked to an ancient mythical creature, and learn in season 13 that there is that probably means season 14, that there is part of a truth in this legend. Okay, so this is some really interesting stuff. They said that these seasons will focus on the origin of Nia's powers, so I'm guessing that they discover that her powers are in fact linked to this sea creature. Whether the ninja will have to defeat the creature like the Preeminent or eventually befriend it at the end of the season, I'm really not sure, although I definitely can see them trying to befriend it, because if Nia's powers are a source of this creature or linked to this creature somehow, maybe they'll try to use her as the link to come to a common understanding between this creature and the rest of the ninja, although obviously we still don't know exactly what's going on. But now is a good time in the video where I can go scene by scene in the trailer and try to piece together what I can of this season and share my thoughts. So the season starts off with a member of the Explorers Guild saying that Misako has gone missing, Ollie Ninja and Pixel are gathered around hearing the news, and the scene cuts to a scene of Clutch Powers, Wu, and Misako going on adventure. So I'm guessing that what actually happened is that Clutch Powers went alongside Wu and Misako, and all three of them somehow got trapped. We know that usually, especially with Wu's character, they alternate his focus to be only in the summer season. This is a pattern that has kept up pretty much since Ninjago started, where Wu gets a pretty significant development and focus in the summer wave, but doesn't do too much in the winter wave. For example, with Prime Empire, Wu did not go in and barely did anything that entire season, but then for season 13, Master of the Mountain, he had a pretty significant character arc in helping Cole along with his journey. The same thing happened in season 11, where Wu actually was a bit of an antagonistic force to the ninja and got significant development during the Fire chapter. They tend to focus on Wu both show and set-wise, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets captured very early on, and maybe the opening to the season features him, Misako, and Clutch Powers all getting captured, and we don't really see them for the rest of the season, so I can definitely see that kind of happening. So immediately we can see them facing off against this large totem which appears to be reanimated. Now what's interesting, in this shot right here we can see another member of the Explorers Club has seemingly traveled along with them. So there are actually 4 of them there. It's not just Clutch Powers, Wu, and Misako, we've got another member there. The totem appears to have trapped them, so that's all we know of what happened there. And then the scene switches to the ninja coming down, presumably flying down to an island or maybe just parachuting down from the Destiny's Bounty to meet up with this mysterious new character. They say that his name is Twitchy Tim. I'm presuming because it doesn't seem like he is fully recovered from the effects of the Islanders' lightning magic. You can see some purple lightning kind of zapping around his brain, so maybe that's kind of fried his brain a little bit, but it seems that the ninja will recruit him on their quest to kind of show them around the island. And then we see a really good shot of the island itself. This is a beautiful looking shot. I absolutely love how cinematic this looks. And also, quite frankly, it looks like a painting. It's very vibrant. There's a volcano on the island, a very mysterious location, and one that I really hope we get to explore a little bit more in Season 14 as well in the summer, which it sounds like we will. I could be mistaken, but it seems that one of the two boats there, one of them has a sail and one of them doesn't. No, maybe it's not. I was thinking it might be Kai's submarine from Sons of Garmadon, but I don't think they do that much of a deep cut. And actually, you can see in another shot in the trailer, there are two identical ninja catamarans being deployed from the bounty. So this actually feels to me a lot like they didn't really make a lot of sets for this wave. They were trying to work with what sets they had, and sometimes it just ended up being having to copy and paste some of the set materials. So then we get a really fantastic looking shot where, wow, their water animation seems to have really improved here. Look at the beautiful reflections of the lightning on the water. That looks really fantastic. And it shows the catamarans and even Zane's mini catamaran kind of navigating through here. That's just a side build to one of the sets, but hey, when you only got 4 sets for your entire season, you gotta use as much as you can. So they're navigating through the waters here. Really fantastic shot of this water. I'm really quite impressed with the animation quality here. I'm not that impressed with the quality of these 3 motorcycles going along the sand. It feels a little bit two-dimensional to me. I'm not really seeing that much sand being kicked up, but it is still interesting. And again, this is showing that the ninja, or at least the showrunners, are kind of just copying and pasting the few vehicles that we get for this wave. So not every ninja gets their own distinct vehicle, but there's going to be 3 Lloyd's jungle choppers, which I'm presuming are going to be driven by different ninja, and it's just multiple copies of the same vehicle. Moving on to here, we have a shot of Lloyd with the jungle dragon creeping behind him. We know from previous leaks and details that this will be a Lloyd-focused special, at least. So I can definitely see a big focus of this storyline being Lloyd trying to befriend the jungle dragon, which it seems that in this shot here, it starts off as a foe to the ninja, but then Lloyd eventually will kind of come around and it eventually will serve as an ally to the ninja, because the set designer described it as being like a large puppy. So I can imagine it being very, very friendly as the season goes on. We have some more shots of what appears to be Jay in some ceremonial outfit. I'm guessing this is what has been given to him by the Islanders. We still don't know what they're called. I'm just calling them the Islanders for now. But again, this lends some credence to my theory that Jay is being placed under some reverence here because he has his lightning powers which are tied to these people. And it kind of makes sense because it's a Jay and a Nia focus later on, so having them be a couple, maybe the Islanders have Jay's power, the big sea monster has Nia's power, kind of a nice dynamic for their relationship there. So it shows Jay actually being captured or seemingly taken away by the Islanders. It appears that what I'm guessing will be a funny scenario where Jay will be respected and revered by the Islanders, but it's not going to be entirely his choice. It seems like they are actually kidnapping him to make him a ceremonial figure, with Lloyd shooting a final blast of green energy at the sea boat that seems to be taking him away. So the next shot here, we get our first images of the Islanders and specifically Chief Mametis. They've done something pretty interesting with having the outlines of their skin be a very unique texture, not really anything that we've seen before. It almost looks like lightning is coursing through them. Of course, this purple lightning is evidenced in this next shot where they are threatening Clutch Powers and that one member with the lightning staffs. It looks like Clutch Powers has actually stolen the amulet there, being held up by the other explorer. So I don't know whether these two got separated from Wu and Misako at some point, but it doesn't look like they're working together in this shot. So the next shot here we have that's very interesting. We have all of the ninja tied up, and this is very clearly the Islanders' catamaran. So we've got Nia tied up on the very front, but all the way in the back you can see Kai and Jay as well completely tied up. So I'm imagining this is a little bit further in the season, maybe after Jay has fallen out with them and they decide to do it as a full sacrifice. And I keep saying season, I mean special. It's only 45 minutes, so we'll see how that is. But we have them being carried away for a sacrifice there. And this next shot shows a pretty interesting image of the temple on the island here, where the ninja have all been captured and apparently reunited with Wu, Misako, and Clutch Powers, although I don't see any sign of that other member of the Explorers Guild there, so who knows what happened to him. That being said, this shot is actually missing Jay, so I'm guessing that this was taken at a point where Jay was being celebrated by the Islanders and kind of set aside from the other ninja. Moving into the next scenes here, we're about halfway through the trailer. we see a rotating dial where Chief Momedas plunges his staff into a certain fixture on the floor and reveals the amulet, which is the collectible for this season. So we really don't know what this is. Maybe it's the source of their lightning power. There seems to be some electricity or energy deep within it, but there actually only does appear to be one of them. So it's not like past collectibles where there are multiple. There only seems to be one amulet, and it's a very special treasure. And then we have another amazing shot of this dragon head sculpted boat. This doesn't look at all like an actual animal. In fact, we can get a clear outline of it, and you can see a very clear sail that's featured on the back of this. So honestly, I really hope that this is a season 14 set and not just something they thought up of for the show, because that looks really menacing. They're really showing it off throughout this season, and it looks like a fantastic design. It might be the creature that they're trying to appease, but quite frankly, it looks too static to be a living creature. If you notice, the head never moves, the jaw never moves, and the neck never bends. So it seems to be like just a large boat or something. Maybe that's kind of what this is all about. Maybe the villains for the next summer season are trying to trick the Islanders into worshipping this quote-unquote creature, but it's actually just a massive boat with a figurehead. Although that doesn't quite line up with the description of it being an actual creature. I still don't know what exactly this is supposed to be, but it looks like the ninja are trying to be sacrificed to it. We have some more shots here of the ninja, nothing too crazy going on, but Lloyd putting on some jungle or war paint, which is really nice. And what also is really nice is seeing a shot of Pixel, who has kind of been sidelined a little bit in recent seasons of the show. She hasn't really done much, especially in seasons even 11, 12, and 13. She didn't really have that much of a focus, so it's nice to see her back in the action, even if it is just to fly the bounty in, drop the guys, and then fly the bounty out. At least she's doing something. And they are dropping 2 identical Kai catamarans from that battle set. So it seems like that's not something that belongs specifically to Kai, but actually just belongs to all the ninja, alongside Zane's mini catamaran build. Again, we have some beautiful shots of the water here. It seems that they really improved the water and ocean animation because, of course, Will Film got it down pat in previous seasons of the show. They made water look really good. And then they switched animation studios to DHX, which has its own strengths, but water was not one of them. But it does actually seem like they've really put a lot of budget into making water look good, and these shots are some of the most beautiful water shots that I've seen in Ninjago before, so I'm very impressed with that. We also see this next shot here, which appears that the ninja have been freed from their restraints, which we saw them in previously, and are now attempting to do spinjitzu, which is a very cool shot. And it's followed up by another amazing shot of Nia hurling a water tidal wave at the villains here, which also looks really fantastic. Now we have a shot of, well, 4 of the ninjas, specifically Kai, Nia, Cole, and Zane, being trapped behind bars. I'm guessing they were trying to free themselves by shaking the bars only to be met with some sort of electric shock, which suggests that the villains are very intrinsically linked to electricity. And the next shot here we have is that dragon boat figurehead hurling a fireball at the ninja catamarans, which is very interesting. It's kind of funny how Jay has his own sacrificial float on his own, and the rest of the ninja are just on an iceberg, but it does appear that it shot a fireball at them, which is a follow-up to the scene that we saw just earlier, and then it shows Jay by himself crossing the bridge, so maybe that's where he's trying to escape from the Islanders, or was separated from the rest of the ninja. This next shot here is basically a hint at exactly what's going to go down with the jungle dragon. The ninja will probably adopt it as a pet, and it seems that they're playing fetch with it to force it to attack the Islanders. They threw a ball or a coconut at the Islanders, and of course the dragon is jumping after the ball, so kind of a funny shot there. It seems like that's kind of the character of the dragon here. And we have just a very simple shot of the ninja taking out their weapons. What is interesting about this shot, though, is that they are using the identical weapons that they used in Season 11. These are the exact Season 11 weapons, so it is nice to get some continuity there. And especially nice because I actually went to the trouble of 3D printing some of them, so it is nice to see that being used outside of just one season. Moving on here, it seems that Jay is being offered some sort of a food dish because he's being respected by the Islanders, which is kind of to be expected. And of course, the dragon seems to have warmed up a lot to Lloyd in this shot. There's a last bit of a funny shot with Chief Momedas standing on a stepping stool, but nothing too crazy going on there. Jay's sacrificial float can be seen behind him. And a shot of Lloyd diving underwater with the fireball racing above him, which I presume is a direct follow-up to the scene where that dragon figurehead boat hurls a fireball at the ninja. Down here we have another shot of Zane navigating the storm in his kind of catamaran or surfboard here, and poor Cole being struck by a spear, maybe when he was mouthing off against the Islanders and they hurl a spear at him to get him to keep quiet. There were finally just some other very quick shots of the ninja running through the jungle, escaping from their restraints, and even that one member of the Explorers Guild freeing Clutch Powers. So that seems to be in the same scene where the ninja were freed because the other spikes are empty. And finally, we get some last shots of the catamarans navigating through the ocean. Again, beautiful shots, and a really cool shot of Lloyd leaping through the jungle trees. Finally, we end our shot with what looks to be a long-form action sequence similar to the ones that were done in Season 13, at least I really hope so, where it features all of the ninja in action and Zane even facing off against some sort of spinning blade, which looks really cool. But with that, that's where we end this trailer. It's certainly an interesting one, and honestly, I'm not really sure quite how I feel about it because, of course, actually, let's just put the trailer away for now. We haven't really had that much success with very limited runs of Ninjago before. The last 45-minute special for Day of the Departed was notoriously one of the worst written pieces for Ninjago just because it was a little bit too rushed and things just didn't really make all that much sense. The last time that we had a focus like this, where the focus was on Legacy, and the TV show just got a few sets, was with March of the Oni, which also felt incredibly rushed, but actually also had to serve as a conclusion to Ninjago, versus this, which I'm actually a lot more hopeful for, because obviously this is meant to be a lead-in to the summer season. So I'm not really thinking of this as a special, but more of like a 45-minute prologue to what's going to go down in that season, and hopefully, if it doesn't feel rushed, and it doesn't wrap up everything by the end of the season, which I really don't think it will, this will actually be one of the few times where we'll get some sort of a special teasing or hinting at what is to come with Ninjago later this year. This actually does not worry me too much even because Tommy Anderson, who is the creator of Ninjago, has been hyping up the second half of 2021's Ninjago content all year. And actually I was a little worried because he's been hyping up the second half of 2021. He said almost nothing about this, which caused some people to be like, well, maybe is this not as good or it's not really that big of a focus? But it makes total sense because it seems like he's just grouped this in as a prologue to Season 14, which I feel like will strengthen the story even more and allow that story to have the breathing room it needs. The last time he said that Ninjago is going to be next level Ninjago this year, we got Sons of Garmadon and Hunted, two of the highest quality and best seasons we've ever gotten for Ninjago. So Tommy Andreessen said that again. He said 2021's second half of the year, Season 14, is next level Ninjago. So again, it's part of his job to hype this up, but I really do feel like he does respect the brand, he knows when it's good, and he certainly wasn't saying that about, say, Season 11 or whatnot, so I'm really trusting in what he's saying, and I really hope that Season 14 will be fantastic, and this will act as just kind of a prologue to tide us over until the summer. But what do you think of this concept of Ninjago doing a 45-minute island special? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you have any hopes for the season? Are you anticipating anything? Or are you excited to see what comes next? I will definitely be doing a live reaction and analysis of this special when it comes out, so stay tuned to DuckBricks for that, and continue to stay tuned for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye-bye for now.